The following video contains spoilers. We suggest watching the episodes alone in the dark.
Hello, Wolfpack! We're back, and today we're going to take a look at a special episode of the hit horror series R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour. For once, this story was not one of my requests, but instead, it's a story that I've been looking forward to reviewing for a very long time now. We're examining the final season episode, Grandpa's Glasses, a horribly underrated emotional horror story that seems to be ignored by most hardcore Haunting Hour fans, despite being a very well-crafted, deep, symbolic tale of suspense. This is the last final season Haunting Hour episode I have left on my list, since I reviewed every other final season story before this one, which had mixed results. Some of the final episodes were great, and some were just awful. And you know, after rewatching the last 10 episodes of the show, I can safely say that this episode was so good that Grandpa's Glasses really should have been the true series finale of The Haunting Hour instead of Goodwill Toward Men, because this episode was that great. Yes, seriously, this episode should have been the true series finale instead of the second story coming in right after I'm Not Martin, a mistake that the show really should have fixed. But luckily, we saved this final season episode for last ourselves. So now that I have your attention, we can see if this story truly lives up to all the high praise that I've been bragging about. What are we waiting for? Was this final season episode a really well-tailored emotional story offering us a new dramatic perception on the Haunting Hour? Or has this episode's vision been blurred by the test of time? Well, let's stop wasting time and find out. This is my review on the final season Haunting Hour episode, Grandpa's Glasses. So our episode opens up at a dark, dusty, old Silent Hill mansion, where we meet our main characters arriving to check out the place since they intend to sell the old crib after inheriting it from their deceased family member, Grandpa Everett.
Well, yeah.
No, this grandpa is actually an old white guy, sadly. We then meet our kid hero, Bo, a curious little scamp who wants to know more about his mysterious dead grandpa, but his emotionally closed-in mother, Carolyn, refuses to open up to her son on the details of her past life with her old man. Yep, it's going to be that kind of a story, everyone. The mother is cold and distant towards her own son whenever he tries to learn more about her father, since for some reason, she changes the subject to avoid talking about her estranged parent every time. On a small side note, Bo's mother, Carolyn, is played by Ellen Harvell from the hit show Supernatural. Looks like she's acting in another popular horror fantasy show where she'll have some supernatural encounters. The two explore the old house and exchange some exposition on how the mother plans to sell it off so Bo won't get too attached to the mansion or learn more about Grandpa's past. When the mom takes care of a phone call, Bo looks around Grandpa's study, encountering a ton of random weird objects, before we spot Grandpa's glasses.
He said it! He said it!
However, Bo gets called away to help his mother out, while we get a creepy close-up shot of the magnified glasses. And we see that the lenses can show us some disturbing things that the normal human eye cannot. Oh no, the glasses can show humans invisible monsters? Wait, so is the monster like microscopic or something? Because that creature's head looks really tiny. I mean, is it me, or is that thing's head smaller than Manny? Also, didn't R.L. Stine kind of already do glasses showing humans hidden monsters back on the Nightmare Room? Why, yes he did. Both the episode's Four Eyes and Grandpa's glasses do rely on ordinary glasses becoming a major plot device, but the Nightmare Room used that gimmick for straight up horror, while this story wants to go for a different kind of feeling. But I guess this is just the Haunting Hour's clever way of informing us that they share a cinematic universe with the Nightmare Room. But back in this story, Bo tries to ask his mother more questions on what Grandpa was like when he was alive, but she continues dodging his curiosity by reminding him that they aren't staying in the house for long, since it's nothing but old junk to her now. However, the mom reluctantly allows Bo to explore the mansion alone while she fixes some things off screen, so Bo admires all of Grandpa's weird collectibles before seeing that his grandfather was a famous explorer who accomplished so much. Yeah, it's pretty much shown that the mysterious grandfather was some kind of Indiana Jones-esque adventurer who discovered all these bizarre supernatural treasures, as we see how he made the newspapers and kept some of his discoveries as personal prizes. Not to start an angry rant so soon, but I only have one minor nitpick with this. This episode is a final season Haunting Hour story, right? And as we can see, the mysterious grandfather was a collector of the strange who held on to some weird artifacts, which Bo looks at throughout a large portion of the opening. Wouldn't it have been cool if we saw that some of Grandpa's collectibles were props that were once used on the Haunting Hour, and it was the episode's way of paying respect to its great history by showing the fans all the old haunted lore from past episodes? I mean, how sweet would it have been if Bo was walking around and we saw stuff like the red dress, the black mask, the box of fears, Alan Miller's paintbrushes, a picture of Mrs. Worthington, one of Big Yellow's sports jerseys, Sir Maestro's guitar, a dream catcher, a model train, a power stone, or heck, even an egg? I would have laughed so hard if we saw an egg in the background. I know that episode was a steaming pile of crap, but considering that one of the actors in the story was on Bad Egg, it could have been a funny reference. My point is that the Haunting Hour has a golden opportunity here to showcase all the props used throughout the series, as a way to pay tribute for all the fans who loved watching this show. But they don't. It's just my opinion, since I do still love this episode, but I think the fans would have went nuts if they remembered all the good times again. Of course, Bo eventually finds Grandpa's glasses, where he tries them on. For no real reason at all, actually, but I guess it's his childish innocence kicking in or whatever. Naturally, we get some jump scares when he looks around the room with the glasses on, before Bo suddenly hears a man screaming for help upstairs. Before he heads up the steps, he spots a hellish red light, which leads him to an encounter with an unholy abomination.
Mom? Is that you? Mom?
Okay, that's not the kind of demon he meets, but trust me, this whole story will feel like another Silent Hill Chronicle. In fact, the Haunting Hour should probably just be called the Silent Hill Chronicles at this point, considering how many episodes feel like using elements from that franchise. Instead, Bo spots a demon woman who assaults him in a pretty unsettling horror scene. And I'll admit that the demon in this episode is legitimately creepy and terrifying. Seriously, look at that thing. It's like the Haunting Hour copied the design of Reagan the Exorcist monster.
Stick your cock up her ass, you motherfucking worthless cocksucker.
So props to the Haunting Hour for once again delivering us such a unique, hideous monster to scar the children for life. Bo tries to escape the unholy demon and holler for help, but sadly, his mother is busy outside talking with the gardener. Yeah, of course the mother can't hear her screaming son when she's outside. Clearly that's too far a distance. Luckily, Bo narrowly avoids death when he takes shelter in a creepy room, as he continues hearing the strange screams of agony upstairs and sees that the hellfire is growing. Oh, and while he scurries around to hide, he also bumps into some creepy jump scare artwork, which only makes me more upset how the show didn't bother having any of the big artwork, like, oh, I don't know, the girl in the painting, the La Llorona statue, or the cult leader from Checking Out in there. Come on, Haunting Hour, you have all these easy moments to show us the great lore in your final season, and yet you never take the opportunity. Eventually, the mother finishes chatting with the gardener before realizing that her son disappeared. Bo continues hearing the demon shouting outside, saying that it plans to burn the whole house down and kill everyone in it, where our hero finally discovers that the glasses are showing him all these things. No, really? I assumed that it was normal to see exorcist demons flying across the room and torching buildings. Also, how are the glasses making him hear the Netherrealm demons? Shouldn't he only be able to see the weird happenings but not hear what noises they make? I mean, Four Eyes had that factor in it, but then again, I'm not an expert glass master. Bo desperately tries taking the glasses off, but magically he can't remove them at all, since they're now permanently stuck on his head. Oh no, the glasses are stuck on Bo. Well, this is truly the worst thing that could possibly happen here. But hey, at least your glasses aren't as bad as Geordie's visor.
You can even try on LeVar Burton's visor. Why would he wear these? Who would invent these for him?
Carolyn wonders where Bo went to, but accidentally drops her iPhone, which we all know won't lead to any problems later. Meanwhile, Bo sees the hell flames dying down, but gets back when he sees the door slowly unlocking intensely, only to reveal that it's his mother who's been looking for him. A mysterious demon girl suddenly disappears at the exact same moment when Bo's mother shows up. I sure hope that this isn't some form of clever foreshadowing. The mother tells Bo that they're leaving, but our kid hero sees the demon Reagan awaiting them in the hallway, causing him to panic and lock the door behind his mom. He tells his mom that they can't go because he sees something evil out there, and reveals that the glasses are stuck on him. The mother doesn't believe him at first until she struggles to take off his glasses, where, if you can believe it or not, the mother actually becomes useful. She automatically trusts her son once she sees that the glasses are magically sealed on his face, proving to her that Bo might really be in danger. So she does everything she can to keep him safe from whatever's out there herself. What? You mean that the Haunting Hour gives us a parent who is actually smart and useful to the story, instead of the cliched adults being idiots setup? Who would have guessed that you could write a great horror story without turning everyone in it into a total moron? Really though, the mother actually does become a competent character trying to protect Bo, since she tries comforting her son and proving that he'll be safe by her side as she attempts to escort him out of the mansion safely behind her. but Bo still hears a mysterious man screaming for help upstairs, prompting our hero to check it out. The two rush up to the top floor, where Bo tracks the screams coming from a mysterious locked room in the back hallway. Bo theorizes that they need to help whomever is trapped inside, but for some reason, the mother strangely hesitates upon seeing that secret back room. Unfortunately, the demon Reagan pops up once more, saying that she won't ever allow anyone to escape her wrath, before the monster tosses Bo into the secret room to make him suffer.
Mom, we have to stop it. It's gonna burn everything down. Bo! Mom! Bo! Mom! Bo!
The nightmare room.
The mother fails to save her son in time and realizes that she's lost her phone, which forces her to run off and find it before it's too late. Meanwhile, Bo wakes up in a dim office only to find the ghost of his dead grandpa, who was the man screaming for help the entire time. And he reveals that he's blind and confused on his current whereabouts, asking the kid what's going on here. Yep, Grandpa's soul is bound within the house thanks to the demon holding him prisoner and preparing to drag him down to hell with her. On an interesting side note, Grandpa Everett is played by the same actor who played the chief scientist back on the piece of crap Bad Egg. But if you want to see him on something actually good, the Grandpa's actor is also the smoking man from the X-Files. Yep, he's playing another character who crosses paths with the supernatural and meddled with powers he was not yet ready to comprehend on this show too. But since we don't exactly know the reasons how Grandpa Everett died, I'm now going to assume that he was really the smoking man on this show, and his addiction to cigarettes finally killed him off.
Looks like the cigarettes finally got you.
Anyways, Bo calms down his estranged grandfather, but when the ghosts ask who his fellow prisoner is, Bo informs him that he's his grandson, which surprises Everett because he never even knew he had a grandson after his daughter distanced herself from him many years ago. And we finally learn the backstory between Bo's mother and his mysterious grandfather in a pretty outstanding sad scene. The grandpa reveals that he never really talked with his daughter anymore because a long time ago he had a falling out with her, which caused his wife and child to leave him, and they never spoke again to him afterwards. When Bo pries for more information, the grandpa admits that back then he was a selfish, greedy man who made some mistakes in life since he cared more about his personal achievements rather than raising a family. At least at first. Grandpa Everett says that when he was younger, he neglected his family since he craved fun, excitement, and adventure. He desired achieving money and fame rather than bonding with his loved ones, which led to his family breaking off all ties with him since they couldn't see eye to eye on that lifestyle. His daughter and he left on bad terms thanks to his selfish goals, which Grandpa Everett regretted ever since that day he drove them away. He thought that all he wanted was material treasures, but all the money and trophies in the world never made him truly happy. All he really wanted was the one thing he lost, his family. Grandpa Everett admits that he was never truly unhappy in life after his wife and daughter left him, even though he accomplished so much, because as rich as he was, he soon learned that all he really wanted was for them to come back. He then shows Bo that his only true treasure he still had was a last picture of his daughter when she was still little and idolized him. It's the last thing he cherishes now because it reminds him of her every day.
That's so beautiful.
Whoa, is this moment actually heartbreaking? Did the Haunting Hour actually manage to pull out a sweet, depressing, emotional moment in this tale about magical glasses and demon spawn? I gotta say, Haunting Hour, I'm impressed. Fantastic job here, writers. We cut to the mom outside, still looking for her iPhone, but instead she grabs an axe to get ready for battle. Spoiler alert, she never uses the axe to fight a demon or break down the door. Yeah, what could have been a really cool moment is kind of wasted and forgotten about. Though I'll still give credit that the mother is at least doing something to try to save her son, but I only wish they gave her more to do than just wander around aimlessly. But back in the nightmare room, Bo tells his grandfather that he needs to tell his mother that he truly cared about her before he dies. But the demon returns, somehow stuck inside the wardrobe for some reason, while it continues screaming how it'll burn the house down with them stuck with it. Bo tries to get a closer look of the demon from a safe distance, where we get our big reveal.
That thing! It's wearing my mom's dress!
Yes, because it's your mother.
I'm sorry, I just love how randomly odd that line sounds out loud. Seriously, that's how old Grandpa is going to explain everything to us? That's your mother, kid. I mean, could you imagine if that line was said about all of the other Haunting Hour monsters?
Because it's your mother. 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 Because it's your mother.
Now, for those of you who are still confused by all this, the demon this whole time is really the embodiment of the mother's inner rage towards her father. This is an evil rage monster that remained trapped inside of the mansion after Bo's mother left her father behind on bitter terms, and the demon is getting her inner rage unleashed on her father for ditching her by keeping his soul trapped within the house before taking him down to hell. Yes, somehow the mother's burning rage came to life and kept Grandpa Everett's soul stuck inside this purgatory realm so she could torture him for abandoning her a long time ago. And as far as we know, this soul abuse has been going on for a very long time since he died. At least it's not as bad as the abuse Grandpa Simpson gets.
All the good graves are taken.
Now, some of you may be asking, how is any of this even possible? Well, my best guess is that this all occurred thanks to one of the grandfather's magical trinkets being activated to cause all of this horror to start out. Most likely, the grandfather was studying one of his magical artifacts in his office one day, but it might have caused some kind of reaction that formed the exorcist demon to come in, it killed him, and somehow altered the glasses with its powers during its attack. Though I don't really have any evidence to back this up, it's pretty much my only theory. But a good story is still a good story. So in short, the grandpa's soul is being trapped as a form of divine punishment because he failed to make peace with his daughter, and he is now stuck with her inner rage towards him for all eternity. The mother comes back and fails to open the door still, but Bo realizes that in order to stop this nightmare, his mother needs to forgive her father for his past sins, so she can exorcise the demon from this house and pave the way for Grandpa's soul to move on, since they never made peace before he passed away. The mother naturally questions all this, but Bo shows her Grandpa's old picture of her as proof to make her see that he really did cherish her deep down, but it was just too late for him to tell her that. The mother is still slightly reluctant, but she finally opens up and admits that she did hate her father for abandoning her as a child, and she bottled up her rage over the years ever since, which is why she never wanted to tell Bo or anyone in her family about Everett because of her abandonment issues. Bo convinces her that Grandpa regretted his past actions since he was only human and didn't know any better. but says that she still has to move on and finally make her peace with him, not just for his sake, but for her own. She glances at the picture a few times, still shocked at how Bo figured this all out, but she takes his word for it, and at long last, lets go of her hatred for her father, through forgiving him. The demon in the wardrobe comes out, and then turns into a sweet little girl version of the mother who takes the glasses off of Bo before giving them back to her father, where we get a heartwarming moment of the grandpa apologizing for leaving her life all those years ago, symbolizing how the mother regained her love for her father again after letting go of her rage, and the grandfather regaining his sight so he can finally see his daughter as the true treasure he wanted all along. So after this loving scene, Grandpa makes peace with his child, he ascends into heaven, and the door unlocks, allowing the mother to embrace her boy. Bo tells his mother that he's okay, but the mom apologizes for being so cold to him earlier, and says that she's sorry he never got a chance to meet his grandpa. But naturally, Bo says that it's okay, because in the end, he did get to know him after all, before we close out with the uplifting music playing in the back, and concluding on one last shot of Grandpa back in his happy days.
I'm sorry you never met your grandpa. But I did, Mom. I did.
I know. I've got, well, I guess you'd call it emotions.
Wow, a happy ending? Well, there's the true shocking twist for this episode, folks. But that was the end of the final season tale, Grandpa's Glasses. How does it hold up? Well, to be fair, it was amazing. This is a phenomenal story where the Haunting Hour manages to tell us a deep emotional story that actually makes you feel and relate with the characters. I love that this episode was not about teaching children a lesson, but teaching the adults a lesson. Both the mother and grandpa get the character development in this adventure, while our kid hero Bo is pretty much the voice of reason trying to rebuild his severed family tree so his mom can finally be happy. I do find Bo to be a very entertaining kid hero, and I'm really glad he's successful in his supernatural endeavors, instead of just being another dead body to toss onto the pile. So he's okay, but ultimately, it's his elder family members who grow into better people. As you can all tell, this story was about Bo's mother, Carolyn, finally making peace with her dead father so she could move on with her life, and he could ascend into heaven. But she struggles to do that because her deeply suppressed rage is growing too strong. The episode makes it clear that neither Bo's mother nor the grandpa are bad people, but instead, they are very real, broken, conflicted adults who just suffered a lot of hardships when their differences destroyed their love for each other. Carolyn kept her hatred of her abandonment issues for such a long time that it manifested into the form of a hell demon trying to get revenge on Grandpa. But in the end, the rage was also turning Bo's mother into a cold person who refused to open up to her own son, much like Hank from Toy Train. I also love how the episode doesn't simply make Grandpa seem like the bad guy, but rather, he too was a flawed man who just made some huge mistakes in his life, and now he's suffering the consequences for them. Although it kinda feels rushed, the episode does imply that Grandpa has been trapped in this purgatory realm ever since he died a few months ago, so it's easy to believe that he did have enough time in there to realize that he screwed up. All he ever wanted was fun and adventure, so he could be rich and famous, which naturally led to him ditching his own family duties for his selfishness. But in the end of his life, he was still a miserable old cynic who never achieved his grand happiness because he lost the only real treasures he had a long time ago, due to his poor life choices. It's a great heartwarming story since the grandfather does change his ways in the end, to the point of being nothing like how the mother makes him out to be from her vague descriptions in the beginning. I think this story is aimed more at adults, but of course kids can get into it too, since it is a very great drama story. Like I said, The Haunting Hour is pretty much Silent Hill for families. The moral here is that we shouldn't hold on to our rage for so long and suppress it, and we need to acknowledge our life's mistakes in order to become better people. Sometimes poor decision making will lead us down a dark path, but if you have the chance to atone for your bad steps in life, then you should take that opportunity to make up for your sins while you still can, since waiting too long can lead to negative effects later down the line. You don't want to bottle up your emotions or put in more effort to gain selfish desires, since that will never make you happy. Also, you might want to make peace with somebody who was important in your life, since sometimes we never know the full story of our tragedies. True, it might be a bit hard to do that depending on the situation, but remember, in the end, not everyone is a bad person. Human beings are flawed, and we all make big mistakes. My favorite scene is this touching moment where the demon of the mother's rage transforms into her lost childhood innocence again to give back her father his glasses, while the old man finally sees his daughter one last time to symbolize that the only thing he truly cared about was her the whole time. It says so much without having to spoon feed us all the information in order to fully understand and experience it. Some people felt that this story has taken elements from both The Funhouse and Toy Train, but while those two episodes are really outstanding Haunting Hour tales in their own right, I think Grandpa's Glasses improved on some of the smaller problems I had with them. Both The Funhouse and this episode have a monster who is the living embodiment of a main character's rage, but on The Funhouse, Demon Chad was actually possessing him, and honestly I felt that the villain design for him was the only terrible part of that story. Here, the Rage Demon is given a much more horrifying design that makes her stand out as a really scary villain, and the Mother's Rage is also some divine punisher only existing in this purgatory realm that's trying to take Grandpa's soul to hell instead of simply rampaging like Chad. As for Toy Train, that episode also had a character who was nothing more than an innocent soul who was trying to help another person move on with their life so they could ascend into heaven as well. There was also a character who represented the parents' lost childhood innocence in it too. But on Toy Train, that was more of a plot twist and really minor, while here, the demon becoming good is symbolic to the mother forgiving Grandpa, possibly even being some kind of angel helping Everett ascend up to heaven. My only real problem with Toy Train is that it got boring at times. And I mean really boring, but on Grandpa's Glasses, the pacing is tightened up much more, and there were actually times where I wanted this episode to go on longer, but the simple story still works out greatly. Plus, this story is more about redemption and making peace with the dead, while Toy Train was more about letting go of your past mistakes and not blaming yourself. Unlike the Switchman, Grandpa had to atone for his sins along with the mother, because you all know what happens to you if you refuse to have a peaceful passing. If there's anything negative I have to say about this final episode, it's just a very minor nitpick. I'm just a little upset that The Haunting Hour didn't have any iconic props from the show's history spread out in Grandpa's mansion, since that could have been a fantastic goodbye message for the fans. There really were several chances for the show to give us something as simple as fun reference gags. But I can look past it since the story is a really great serious episode. The story is spectacular, the symbolism is phenomenal, the acting is perfect, the monster in this is surprisingly creepy, the atmosphere is strong, and the episode's emotional moments are outstanding beyond all belief. This episode really did deserve to be the real series finale to The Haunting Hour, since the themes in this tale make a good parting message for the fans. To be honest, it almost feels like the show itself is saying goodbye to the viewers as well by ending out on this message of letting go, at least in my point of view. So I give this episode a gold skull and a perfect score. I know that I've said this about a million times, but this episode really feels like something on the same level as Silent Hill. The writing for these episodes can be just that awesome. I highly recommend this episode for everyone to see, but just in case, you might want to save it for the last Haunting Hour episode you watch, because it's much more powerful than Goodwill Toward Men wishes it was. It's not exactly the scariest of stories, but it does have feeling behind it. What can I say? Grandpa's Glasses is a brilliant masterpiece that will show you the deep beauty hidden within The Haunting Hour. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I hope that you all gain a new perception of your lives.
I don't know what you're talking about. Are you username LadiesMan217? Yeah? Where is the eBay item 2.153? Where are the glasses? Because it's your mother.